Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode. Tonight, being as you guys loved the Tesla one so much last time, I'm going to be analysing whether Tesla is a good stock to buy or not. So first things first, we're going to look at the price right now, we're going to talk about whether it's in a bubble or not, and we're going to talk about some other things which could be influencing the price, and then we're going to be looking at the two perspectives, which is, yes, it's in a bubble, and it's too late to buy Tesla, and no, it's not in a bubble, and then you can make your own mind up based on the information which I'm going to be showing you in this video. First things first, I would appreciate it a lot if you could like and subscribe to the channel, but now that you've done that, it only takes a second. I'm going to talk you through the price over the last few months. So once we zoom out, you can see how exponential the growth of Tesla actually is. We can see barely any red days. I mean, there is about a month, maybe less, where there was some, but it was basically choppy, not necessarily up, not necessarily down, just in choppy waters, pretty mixed, and it didn't really do anything, and then it exploded again. Similarly, a few days up at the top here, 3 days at the top here, and now we are on the second day of an explosive rise. Once again, we're seeing no downturns. However, there has been quite a high wick out of today's candle, so that could mean some things for tomorrow, but you never know. Anyway, the day is not really what matters, because after looking at a 1 year return, Tesla is up almost 1000% this year, almost up 200% on the 6 month, and even almost up to 200% on the 3 month, 45%, almost 50% increase on the 1 month, and a full on 10%, even 11% almost on the 1 week. So we can see here there has been quite a lot of rise in the Tesla price over the last few days and weeks, and even years. So clearly this one could be one to watch. With such a large price rise, it's going to be hard to decide for people, is this a bubble stock or not? So obviously if we zoom out and look, we can see this stock is rising so high, it looks like it could be in a bubble. There are a few influential factors which I'm going to talk to you about first to determine why this price has risen so much. Obviously I've done a video talking about this in another one, that was 2 days ago when I talked about Tesla and why it's risen so high. But yes, I'm going to be explaining the basics of why it's risen so high, and ultimately what is affecting the price, and is it going to go any higher, and is it going to go any lower. And I'm going to be explaining all this in this video, so I'm just going to cut out to a little PowerPoint that I've made now where I'm going to be analysing all the points. Now, a very important factor to consider when looking at the Tesla company is the business model itself, because a lot of hype can go into a company's stock, but depending on what the company itself actually does, that could influence a lot of things, because obviously a lot of people are jumping onto the Tesla stock for a huge rise, but fundamentally there are a lot of good things about the business model itself which people do often forget. So is this a business model which is sustainable? Is it a business model which is doing well? Is it something that can be continued? Is it something that's going to grow at the current pace? So let's think about it. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did steal this slide from the other day's PowerPoint, but this is the only slide in the PowerPoint which I'm going to steal from that. However, is with good reason. Like I said in the last video, Tesla produce electric cars, but they also produce much more. So like I said, I didn't dive as deep into this one, but yes, Tesla produce so many things nowadays. They produce things like insurance. Now, I know it's not technically a physical product, but for Tesla cars, this insurance is another form of income for the company. They produce trucks coming out soon and more diverse products. They're also producing things like solar power things. I forgot what they've called for the minute, but I do actually know what they're called, but I just forgot. Anyway, Tesla are producing quite a lot of things in their company, which is going to influence the price of their stock and influence the profitability of their company in the future. Ask yourself a few questions. When you think about electric cars, what company do you think about? And that is a very influential factor, because Tesla is ahead of the market, the whole market. Even traditional auto manufacturers, big auto manufacturers, Tesla is ahead of them on the electric car field, because it's one thing to say, yes, for example, Ford or BMW are quite high up in the market rankings in general, and Tesla may not be as high up in the market rankings overall. However, we've got to think to the future, because when we're investing in something like Tesla, yes, it's rising at the minute, but we've got to think about reasons why it could rise in the future. So is there a huge market for cars? Yes, there is. Are electric cars going to be forced on us, whether we like it or not? Probably in some countries. Some countries in Europe especially have been implementing time plans of when they want this to happen. This is around 2030. Obviously right now the year is 2020. So in 10 years we could be looking at fully electric cars and things like that in the future. So that means that there's a potential huge market space for cars, and that's just one of the products that they offer. So obviously if people are driving Tesla cars, using Tesla insurance, using Tesla energy from their homes, because obviously like I said, solar power things on the roof, that is quite quite important, could show some higher levels of growth than what there actually is right now. So yes, huge growth numbers in the last year, huge growth numbers in the last few years. However, looking at the future, the market segment for Tesla is pretty much expanding, and it's just getting bigger because more people are on the earth as people get born. And bear in mind, people are switching to electric cars, and solar power and renewable energy is becoming more and more of a popular option for people to go for over the traditional motor cars and things like energy from unsustainable sources like nuclear power plants and stuff like that. So yes, Tesla has a huge market share, and this could influence the price in the future. So that's one thing and that's the most important thing. That's the underlying factor of any business, is the actual business model. So where is Tesla itself making the money from? Are they making the money from the company? Are they making the money from the stock and the dividends and paying investors from the stock? So basically, are they making money from the products, or are people paying them too much in the stock and that's causing them to make money? Well, in my opinion, Tesla, the company, is going to make quite a lot of money on their products in the future because, like I said, they're ahead in infrastructure, they're ahead in car technology, they're ahead in brand awareness when it comes to electricity. Electric cars, like I said, a lot of people think of Tesla immediately, and that is a huge factor because it's adding a little bit of prestige to the company. People might want to get Tesla cars instead. So when that revolution does come, when everyone's driving electric cars, Tesla will be probably quite up in there because it's one of the first few ones which was made popular and cool, if you will. So yes, Tesla business model is very important, and it is something that will influence the price quite a lot, and is quite an influential and important factor. So yes, Tesla, good business model for the future, very future proof because obviously, like I said, huge market share, so good things for them for this section. But we're going to move on from here to the next few slides when we're going to be talking about both sides of the argument and some other factors. So fortunately, I've picked a weekend for this one, and here we are on Tesla, and we can see here, we're going to go straight onto it because today is quite flat because, like I said, it's a weekend, markets are closed, so not really much action going on, but we're going to take an overall look at the 1 day and the 1 week charts of why Tesla may actually be a stock which is basically in a bubble. So first things first, when we go out here, we can see on the Helsinki Ashi candle that this day is apparently high. I mean, I don't even know if that's true, to be honest, but yes, overall, when we look at the 1 day, it is quite high. We're going to go on to the 1 week though, and the 1 month. So when we go into 1 week and 1 month, actually, we can see here on the 1 week, we have got a huge shoot this week. Now, I don't think that this is a great way to show it, so I'll show it on this perspective. And I don't know why it's actually gone so high today, but it is really high, and you can see basically over a longer period of time how it's worked. So we can see on the candlesticks, the candlesticks haven't even caught up apparently, and now we are at a price of 22.07. So there we go, very high price. And reasons why this could be in a bubble stock is if we take a longer look out, we could technically see some of the cycles of a bubble. Now, I'm not going to say either way whether it is or it isn't, but if we look at the bubble cycle, we can see at the start people started investing, fair enough, and then obviously we've got the breakout section towards the top, like it showed in the bubble cycle, slowly starting to gain traction. As we can see, the candles start to get a little bit higher and higher, steps start to build up, they get steeper and steeper, and then we get the boom, and we could argue that the boom is now, because obviously the stock is breaking out. Or one could even argue that the stage after the boom, where people get a bit euphoric and decide to go for it anyway, is currently at where we are at now, because you can see here that the price rise is huge, and there's not really too much reasoning for it to shoot that high. Obviously, we've got a stock split coming and things like that, but really, you know, some people have just jumped into this, not really considering the risk that comes with it, and this is something that has driven the price. It is fair to say that, especially with things like Robinhood traders and whatnot. So that's the argument for it. Yes, it is technically showing some of the cycles, but with other products which is coming out by the company, it isn't impossible. So we're going to look at some of the reasons why it might not be a bubble now. So this was just a quick look at the bubble cycle and how we can apply it to this Tesla stock. But now we're going to look at some reasons why Tesla might actually not be a bubble stock. So here we go. So as depressing as that last bit might have been about Tesla looking like a bubble, there are actually some logical factors which might explain it not being a bubble. So here we're going to go over some logical explanations. Now I've only managed to gather 4, but there are some more. However, it's important to consider that at the minute, not really anything can be taken for certain with the way everything is changing so quickly, especially in the stock market. So we're seeing big companies go under, so you know, it's not guaranteed that Tesla is going to win, and it's also not guaranteed that it's not a bubble. So you've got to take your own precautions when you're doing this or when you're looking into it, but we can look at both sides of the argument and help you to get a more rounded and clear picture, taking out some of the research so that you don't have to do it. So the market stimulus has been going on for a while. So we've got US market stimulus, And obviously, US is the number one biggest economy, so we're going to put number one. So basically, what that means is the more money that the US puts into the economy, especially the US economy, obviously, US stocks are going to get boosted with that. So the US economy is basically pumping money into the stock market to stop it from crashing any further. So what that means is people are getting more confident to go back and buy stocks because obviously the government is helping to prop it up, and that is also helping out the world economy in a way because a lot of the stock markets do actually revolve around the US one. A lot of governments are doing this, but obviously we know about the US stimulus checks every so often, and the US market stimuluses, housing stimuluses, stuff like that. So obviously that is affecting the price of all stocks, and Tesla is no exception. Now obviously that's not going to go on forever, so temporary, important to note that. So I'm going to put temp for that. So not going to go on forever, but for the minute, it is a very important and influential thing over the entire market. So it's a temporary thing, but it is actually helping out the US market at the minute. So another thing for Tesla is they had higher than expected earnings. So this was obviously for quarter four. So we got Q4. So we got Q4 earnings, which were higher than expected, and this was going to get them into the S&P. I can't really do that and symbol, so we're just going to do it like that. S&P 500, as we know, index. Video coming on that soon. So obviously, if that gets them into the S&P 500 in the future, that's basically going to influence the price for a long time, because as long as they're in the S&P 500, whenever somebody buys a little bit of a S&P 500 fund or whatever, they're buying a small portion of Tesla, and that means that the more people which purchase that, which is obviously going to be more than which purchase Tesla, are going to help the price to go up even further in the future. So that is why. Well, that's one of the reasons why, is because the price being 4 quarters of profitability and the potential to get in the S&P 500 and just 4 quarters of profitability, especially with that fourth quarter being early in the year of 2020. So 2020 was the fourth quarter, and obviously that was a very hard time to predict, and no one thought that any company was going to make any profits really. Obviously some were going to, but Tesla, from a manufacturer of cars, selling cars and other things, then they're not really looking like they're going to make a profit. However, they actually did manage to make a quarter four profit, so very good for the company, and that could be one of the reasons why people are more comfortable to invest in it, because they can see future potential. So obviously if they're making money inside of the lockdown when people aren't allowed to leave their houses and they're still selling cars, and they're making money from it as well, then that shows good things for the company. So potentially when we come out of lockdown fully, that could basically help the price go up even higher, because people are confident that the company is going to make more money in the fifth quarter of its earnings. So here we got interest rates which are low. So obviously interest rates that are low is a good thing because it makes people more confident to invest. So if interest rates are low, basically it means that people aren't making much money in the bank. So bank equals low. And when people aren't making money in a bank, they want to put their money into other investments which are going to make them more. So if interest rates are negative, for example, people are getting small amounts of money taken away from them for having money in a bank account, and they could just put it into the stock market and things like gold or technology stocks, which are rocketing at the minute, and basically make a higher return. So a lot of people are doing that. So that is another reason interest rates are kind of influential. They go alongside the US market stimulus and things like that, because obviously it's all in an attempt to stop the market from crashing, and it's kind of working for the minute. But again, similar to this one, is a temporary thing. So not forever is interest rates going to be this low, but whilst it lasts, it is a factor to consider. So tech is advancing, that's another factor. So tech advancements are very key, because obviously it means more people buy electric cars. Like I said, is Tesla going to expand in the future? Yes, it probably is, because more people buy. So more people buy Tesla cars means higher earnings. So higher earnings. I know that's barely readable, but there we go. Higher earnings for the company, and that is overall a great thing, because it means that once again, people are going to be more confident to invest because they know that the company is going to do well in the future. Because obviously, if they're selling something right now that people are going to want in 10, 15 years, it shows a sustainable business model, it shows things that people want to purchase, and it shows that the company has got a lot of potential if it's managed correctly. So obviously, that is a good factor for anyone looking to invest. The fact that it's got a good amount of products which people are looking to buy, and the fact that it's got a good emerging market for these products, because obviously everyone who drives a car at some point will have to get an electric car in the future, and this means that there's going to be a huge market for electric cars. So that could be a good factor for Tesla. So good for Tesla, that is tech advancing, and that could be one of the last 4 reasons that I can think of. Now there are obviously many reasons that I can think of, but I want to compile this into a video that's about 10 minutes or less, maybe a little bit more. But basically, they are the 4 factors which I can think of straight off the top of my head. I'm sure if you did a little bit of research on your own, you can find a lot more, but these are 4 that I could think of. So here are 4 simple factors and obvious factors that we can all consider at the minute. And if you want to do your own research, I do recommend it. But if you do want to watch the rest of this video, please do leave a like and also check out any of the end screens which will be on screen in a second. So click on any of those videos, I'm sure you'll find them all interesting and they'll all help you to learn the stock market a little bit better. So I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.